Hello, it's Kenyon from Citi. I have two questions on the share buyback. This is the first time you announced regarding the share buyback capacity, 80 million shares in the coming months. Can I ask the coming months definition, is it up till March 2019? So any definite period for this coming month? This is first question. And second question is also related to that. 80 million is around 3.8% outstanding shares. So versus the MPI loss for this 17 more is around 8%. Does it mean that if there are no further acquisition opportunity available, will you consider to buy back more to neutralize the loss of these assets?
We have discussed this extensively amongst the management team and with the board. One of the things that we recognize is that the amount of disposal that we have done is quite significant. So as a result, if we continue to execute what we did with the proceed, buyback, new acquisition, debt repayment, etc., the amount that we need to do will be so significant that for a lot of analysts and fund managers, you won't be able to work out what is the denominator. So your estimate of the DPU for 18-19 will not be as accurate as it can be. So rather than asking you to guess, we decided to offer you a number around that number is how much we might buy back. But the buyback will happen subject to market condition, listing rule requirements, and whether that situation will change if we have acquisitions, etc. So we're giving you that estimate as if everything stays the same as it is today. This is roughly what we need to do. As to the calculation, it doesn't quite work out that way. I think if you look at the sum, it's really how you drive the denominator. So that number will work out just to even out the DPU loss. Okay.
Thanks. Justin Kwok with Goldman. Perhaps along that line as well. Well, first, I think it's great to see a concrete number. I think it's probably the first among the key Hong Kong companies to do that. But then if we look at the 23 billion cash that you got, you now spend like 12 billion on debt repayment in the past 12 months. With this share buyback in mind, probably looking at today's share price, another 6 billion. So you still have some buffer left in that cash pile. And with reference to the earlier years, if I recall correctly, that you guys are talking about a target ceiling not more than of gearing not more than 25% when you've done all the acquisition. So is this kind of quantum, you're still upholding it with reference to the interest rate hike, with reference to all the constraints that you're looking at? Would the investment community continue to expect the size of quantum of M&A could potentially happen in the next kind of years? First question. The other one, easier. It's any guidance on the initial yield or the initial financial contributions from top, or should I talk TOP? Yeah. Thanks.
We have a few years ago renew or agree new loans with a large revolving element. So with the proceed we have use some of them to repay the revolving portion of the loan, outstanding loan. That's why when you look at the capital management page, we actually now have quite a lot of buffer because to the extent that those revolvers have not expired, we may be able to use that for acquisition. We have already done some buyback in the before the blackout period. There is a capacity to do more. We are looking at various potential acquisition opportunities. None are firm enough to talk about it today. So those options are all open. And gearing has come down. Basically, we've gone through one whole cycle. I don't know which is the best way of doing it, which is borrow, increase gearing, and then sell something, or you sell first sitting with more cash, but most of the bank are not paying us a lot of interest, and then go and invest. So either way, that pattern we have basically in the last few years completed one cycle. As you look at the numbers, it's almost matching. But we are keen to look at acquisition opportunities in Hong Kong and the 4 Tier 1 cities. We hope that we'll be able to find something in the next year or two. So I guess that's the extent I can respond to your question. TOP, we decided to create a certain positioning for the asset. So it is as expected. How it's turning out in terms of the positioning. After we bought it, we have done one thing which is challenging to the team, which is to finish the renovation in less than 2 years. The tower was open end of last year, and the podium just opened last week. With that, then what you see is probably a opening of especially the podium, with not necessarily filling up the entire property, and we want some of the tenants who may not appreciate the repositioning, given how it looks like before, to where it is now, to really start leasing discussion only recently. So hopefully in the next couple of months you'll see a stronger take-up. But in the meantime, we also have a lot of pop-up stores, a lot of activities, starting from this Friday with the SML Expo. And so we hope that through attracting a lot of people to go, it will become the right asset for tenants to go when they want to lease in Mong Kok. The MTR exit will open in a couple of weeks' time, and so that will be a direct access going into the mall for people walking through from there to other part of Mong Kok. So we are very excited about this property, and if you have a chance to please go there. Some of the F&Bs have already opened, and a large number of the tenants have never operated in Hong Kong, both the F&B and retail. So very exciting to be able to bring in so many new tenants to Hong Kong.
I have a question from the webcast. Why is there an adjustment in the cap rates compared to 2017?
Well, the adjustment is mainly the reflection of what we have achieved in the last batch of this disposal. If you remember what we have announced, the exit yield that we have achieved is probably in the low 3s. So if you look at this year's valuation, probably half of it is coming from the cap rate compression and half of it is from the MPI uplift.
Do we have any further questions from the floor? Okay. No. Okay.
Sorry about that. So it's David from Macquarie. Two kind of related questions. The retail sales growth, the tenant sales have been very resilient and outperforming the overall Hong Kong retail market over the last few years. Continue to do so in the latest numbers, but obviously the outperformance, the gap is narrowing. I guess part of the reason is the Hong Kong retail sales recently driven by the high-end consumption spending. So can you give us some guidance in terms of, or maybe based on the experience in the past that, as the Hong Kong retail sales continue to prosper in the upcoming 1 or 2 years, should we expect the gap to basically narrow down, or maybe even in some situation that you may actually start to underperform the overall Hong Kong retail sales? The second related question, I guess, is the rent-to-sales ratio, which has been stably and improving over the last 2 years. It is quite meaningful because when we talk about, let's say, like a 1 percentage point or half a percentage point increase, it actually helps you to outperform the retail sales, right? So with the minimum wages impact on your tenants, is there any kind of just rough idea where is the ceiling or where is the comfortable rent to sales ratio for your current portfolio? Should we expect this particular percentage to basically stop rising too much in the near term? Thank you.
You can see from this chart that retail sales in Hong Kong have indeed improved across all categories. No doubt that the higher end, the jewelries, watches and all that will go up faster. And they do not occupy as much of in our trade mix as some of the other landlords in Hong Kong. So that's a fair point. And so you need to just analyze in terms of trade mix where we are. But we will continue to see robust growth in trade in retail sales, partly because Hong Kong's economy continues to be strong. If the rest of the market is doing well, it helps our retailers as well to believe that they will do well. We have also changed some of our tenants to get better tenants, more productive tenants. So I think these will translate into reversion numbers. As to the ratio of retail sales, this is an average. Again, this is you need to look at our trade mix. Given that a good part of our trade mix is in non-discretionary retail, they would typically have lower rent to sales. So there's room to grow. I'll probably not be in a position to tell you where we are targeting, but there's definitely still room to grow.
Any further question from the floor? I have one further question from the webcast, the last one. In your acquisition plan, any plan to expand the mainland China portfolio?
Yes, we are looking. I don't know which will come first, whether we find something in Hong Kong versus what we may be able to find in China in the four cities. Certainly, if we find a few more assets like those that we have acquired in the last few years, we'll be very happy. We did have a discussion with the investment team whether we are too slow, should we speed up. But we're certainly sitting on a much stronger buffer for acquisition than we had in the past, and so we can work a little bit harder. Although my team told me that they've been working very hard already. So let's not push them too hard. There are some bankers here as well, so any good ideas, please pass them on. We'll more than welcome looking at them. So we are very keen to improve the portfolio quality. So one of the things that you have seen is that we have divested the smaller assets, slower growth, and probably with tenants that are less productive. So all the matrix, all the numbers have really moved up because of the divestments that we've done over the last few years. Expense to income ratio for individual assets tend to be lower for larger assets as well, so that also helps us as well in terms of efficiency and economy of scale. So we'll continue to look for these opportunities.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you very much to those who have been watching through the webcast. And again, as with all times, the Investor Relations team is available 24/7 for all questions. So please feel free to fire on any questions you might have from anywhere in the world. So thank you very much, management, for coming, and thank you very much, guests, for coming today.